right, we'll get started. My name's Jim Ohneck, and happy to be here today. I think this is my fourth or fifth talk that I've given at this conference. And I have to say, a little story, this conference kind of put me on a journey. My background is science and engineering. And the first time I came to give a talk, I was talking about a laser device that used a certain wavelength of light to heal people. And this started me seeing all these other things on a journey that the light can do more. And subsequently, we had put a laser in at a clinic in Ecuador, a place called Tosa Blue Mountain. And the lady that was doing the treatments there was doing chakra balancing with the laser. And at the time I said, I don't even know what that is, but it sounds cool. And then we have a laser in Puerto Rico, and that guy says, oh, I'm treating the meridians. You know, it's very excited about it. And so I've been on a 3-year quest and a journey to say, how can I bridge the gap between science and engineering and holistic healing and what you all do? And there's some exciting results. You may know, like, neuropathic pain is pain that people get, but they don't really know why, right? They feel pain, but they don't know where it comes from. They can take an X-ray and everything looks normal. And that's very hard to heal. And what you'll learn about today is how tying and bridging the gap between science and engineering and holistic healing can really profoundly help people like that. So let's jump right into it. So just a little bit about the company and the technology. So I'm going to kind of cover a little bit of the science first, and then I'll talk a little bit about the spiritual side as well. It's a lot of material, and so I might have to go quickly, especially if the lady in the back holds up signs. So I'll do my best, and you can come down to our booth if we end up short and talk more. So Epoch Lasers was founded, the company itself, Epoch Lasers, was founded in 2017, but I've been working on the technology for 25 years. And I started at the cellular level. What does different wavelengths of light do at the cellular level? Because if you don't know that, then you have no idea what it's going to do to the whole body. You have no idea what the parameters of the machine need to be. So I started at that level. I hold a U.S. patent for the device. I'm a fellow of the American Society of Laser Medicine and Surgery. So those kind of my general credentials. I have degrees in business administration and engineering. I wrote a book about this experience, and so this is kind of this presentation is a summary of the book. But I really wanted to get the word out there. I wanted to be the bridge between this science and this holistic. So you can always scan the barcode if you're interested, and it will take you to the book. So who's this for? If you're into meditation and wellness enthusiast, bridging the gap between spirituality and science, if you're passionate about holistic health, integrating mindful practices with technological advancements, then you're in the right place. If you're an advocate for balance and harmony, promoting comprehensive well-being through the blend of spiritual and scientific approaches, then you're in the right place. And, you know, our products and this technique can be used for anybody, even athletes. So experiencing pain and how to alleviate it. You have to get to the root of pain and suffering. So it's easy to say, I went to the doctor and I got an X-ray and this is what's wrong. My shoulder hurts and we can laser the shoulder and you can start to get better and promote healing. Recovery from surgery. Lots of people have surgery, they get a lot of subsequent scar tissue and they need to be healed with the laser. Injury recovery, somebody mentioned, you know, if you're in a car accident, then the body's natural healing process is really taxed. You're trying to get over the trauma of the car accident. Living life pain-free, helping individuals regain mobility and quality of life is what we're about. Our really primary goal with the company is to get people off of addictive meds. And I think that's probably your goal too, right? Just to get people off addictive medications. No slam against, you know, the pharma. It has its place. Trauma has its place in the hospital, but we have so much in front of us we can use now today. And we can also facilitate spiritual awakening. As a therapist, I can tell you that I've seen many lives turn around. They come in, they have a bad back. They're not very mobile. They sit on the couch, they watch TV, maybe they drink a little too much, they don't take their dog for a walk, and they're in pain. So what I found is with the laser, you treat them and you're like flipping a switch in their body. All of a sudden, they realize, hey, I'm feeling better today. But something more profound is happening, that switch flips and they say, I'm feeling better today. I'm going to go walk the dog. And then they start to do a little bit of mobility and walking around, and something inside them says, maybe I should drink so much. Maybe I should pay a little bit more attention to what I eat. Maybe I should lose a few pounds. And all of a sudden, they start to really care for their health. And I've seen patients that can really have very limited mobility and motion, have diabetes, neuropathies, become totally free of their pain, and even have their diabetes go into remission. And it's not just because the laser solved the problem, it's because somehow they had this idea to flip their life around. And the first part is getting a little bit of that pain reduced. So we'll talk a little bit about the laser, the science, and then we'll get into combining with the meditation and the chakras and some new approaches, a little bit about certification. So really, we want to relieve people's pain and regain your freedom. We offer two technologies, the Epoch 980 laser and the 980 Helios. One's a clinic laser and one's something you can use at home. They're both based on the same light technology. We also offer a therapy mask. So, ancient Asian cultures really believed, and even medicine in Egypt, all the way back to the canon of medicine, believed that colors do certain things. But really, from a science perspective, it's the wavelength of the color. So red does a certain thing, near infrared does a certain thing, blue does a certain thing. And that's becoming pretty well-known science now, how the light gets into the body. One thing they all have in common is they all activate the mitochondria to produce ATP. And you'll read that in all these light-based products. They all say that because they all do it. How they do it and how deeply they do that into the body is quite different. So yes, red light works great, but it's absorbed in the melanin. Makes it really good for regrowth of hair, for skin rejuvenation, for sure. Near infrared can penetrate really deep into the body. It's really good for deep injuries. So, we try to analyze. We do everything from analyzing what colors were ancient cultures using to what wavelength converts to what technology nowadays. So when light hits the energy, it hits the surface of the skin, what happens is it gets scattered, it gets absorbed, it gets reflected, and then each tissue interface, the light gets less and less, the power of the light. This is maybe what people don't understand. So you have a certain amount of optical power at the surface, and by the time you get deep into the body, you have less and less energy. And so that's important to know what that formula is. So I mentioned I did this cell research. So once I knew what it took to activate the cells, it became a math problem, a complex one, but it became a math problem. What do I need to start with to activate cells so far down? And so once that was mathematically modeled, how do you test it on a person? We tried to get people to say, hey, can we put some optical sensors in your leg? And the answer to that was no. So what did we do? We used a fresh cadaver leg, and we put sensors in that. And we were able to then take measurements and really validate our mathematical model. And here's just a little diagram to show you the laser gets scattered, absorbed, and reflected. So cold lasers and Epoch Lasers technology, you may know of cold lasers from 10 or 20 years ago. They're small little flashlight type devices, and they use low power. So part of the research I did early on was to say, why do some of these devices work and why don't some work? And there were roughly 2,000 articles I reviewed, and there was a clear pattern. Ones that had good clinical outcomes had a certain wavelength. Ones that had clear clinical good outcomes had certain power densities that I was able to back calculate from the information in the article. So once I knew that, I was able to come in and say, okay, now how can I put this technology into a product that can be used quickly, maybe a 10-minute treatment, and is easy for the clinician to use. And that's the kind of the genesis of the product, but it's understanding the basic science. And this just shows it's a circle of light, and that circle of light has to be even across. and it has to be the right power density to get the light down deep into the body. Different wavelengths of light are, as I mentioned, affected differently in the body. So skin pigmentation, hair, tattoos, the thickness of each tissue layer, the vascular content of the treatment area, the cleanliness of the treatment area, that all can vary the success and outcome of the laser. So just because you see 3 lasers, maybe a red light laser, a near infrared at 830 and a 980, and they all say it's 20 watts. They all will have a different effect on the body and all have a clinical outcome. And that's what people don't really tell you. Importance of power density, this surface level power, 65% of the energy in the near infrared is lost at the surface. At red, even more is lost, 65%. So that's why you see like red therapy beds, the big beds, and they're very expensive. They put a huge amount of optical power to try to overcome this absorption. Think of it as a sponge. If you took 3 kitchen sponges and you stacked them, and you started pouring water into the top sponge, what would happen? It would get absorbed, and then it would start to drip through to the next layer. Then that would get absorbed, and it would drip through even less. And then you get a little bit out the bottom. And that's kind of what's happening in the body. Each layer of tissue that goes in gets more and more absorbed until it gets certain distance into the body and there's not enough power to do anything for the cells. And so we just make sure, we go to great lengths to make sure that the power density, as they call it, optical power density, is equal across the top. So we really want to use the lasers to stimulate cell functions. People think, oh, I'm going to shoot down an airplane, or I'm going to do surgery with a laser. All of those things are possible. We stimulate cells to heal, and lasers can be used for that. And the laser was introduced into the world in 1960. And some of the early work was done in this field in Hungary. And so those were critical, and they showed that light can actually stimulate cells and not be harmful, because the initial thought from people is it must be harmful. So laser therapy aims to biostimulate injured and dysfunctional tissues. Clinical studies and trials of a class 3 and class 4 laser technology indicate the following beneficial effects of light therapy on tissues and cells. This is broadly known as photobiomodulation. So you're photobiomodulating. And the basic premise of action is the light comes into the body, it hits the mitochondria, and when it does, it pushes the mitochondria to produce ATP. So why is that important? How do you normally produce ATP? And ATP, by the way, is adenosine triphosphate. How you normally produce it is by the food you eat and by the light, the sunlight. So those 2 mechanisms help produce ATP. And of course, a big one, the oxygen you breathe. So without those, you don't really have good ATP production. When your body's inflamed and you're injured, your energy is being pulled to try to heal that. And if you don't have really good nutrition, you're not producing enough ATP, your body just can't get through that threshold and get better. So optically, the laser activates the mitochondria and it puts in another way that you can produce ATP. So it's like flooding your body in the injured area with adenosine triphosphate, which helps the body heal. So it accelerates the healing. And also nitric oxide is produced that acts as a vasodilator, more blood flow to the area, blood flow in and out, and this helps the body heal as well. And again, the mitochondria, they're the powerhouse of the living cell. Think of them as little tiny electrochemical batteries that convert energy from the food and the oxygen again, from the air to ATP. They're like a molecular motor. And again, ATP, if you're not familiar, is adenosine triphosphate. That drives the biochemical activity inside your living cells. All life on Earth depends on this. So it's very important. Photonic energy is converted to the ATP, and again, it helps drive the healing process. And this is basically ATP synthesis. So these are what the light emitting products you see, whether it be red light or near infrared, this is what they do. They all go about it differently. They all penetrate into the body differently. And they all take more and more time, and they all have different effects. 830 nanometer lasers, for example, they're highly absorbed in the melanin. So not as much energy gets through. So if you see an 830 nanometer laser, they'll probably say they have a 35 watt laser. Why? Because they need more power to try to overcome that. But what happens to that extra power that's being absorbed in the melanin? It gets hot. And so it can become uncomfortable for the patient. So we really were very picky about what wavelength we picked, and we had really good reasons behind it. So we want to relieve pain, reduce inflammation, promote tissue healing, minimize the side effects, restore active range of motion. There's profound anti-inflammatory and analgesic effects. Pain relief is typically immediate. You're going to step down the pain scale. If you come in and the person's at a 10, saying, I really hurt, I'm a 10, they get a treatment, maybe they walk out of there and they're a 6 or a 7. And then maybe a day or two later, they come back and they're at an 8. They come back in for another laser treatment. Oh, now they're down to 5. And they're just going to walk down that scale from anywhere from 3 to 10 treatments, depending on what's wrong. So some advancements, again, as I started out saying, we're trying to bridge the gap between advanced scientific technology and holistic healing. And we really want to offer a path to true harmony and enlightenment in all walks of life. We're really proud of the fact that we have people using the laser in Ecuador, in Puerto Rico, in South Korea, in Japan, in Italy, in England. We've really gone around the world, and people are seeing the benefits. So for me, it's every unit that goes out there, I think how many thousand people can be treated. And so we really want to see that out there. And then how many people can come off those medications. In places like Ecuador, they don't have medications. They just suffer with the pain. So we provide this targeted energy to the cells. Now we look at open-minded practitioners that understand the connection between physical wellness and spiritual healing, which is you all. So a holistic approach integrates physical and spiritual aspects for our well-being. And we use this laser technology, again, to promote the balance and harmony. So let's now delve into more to the spiritual side. So, I'm sorry, some of these are a little crowded slides, but enhanced healing, the combined focus of laser therapy and meditation can accelerate the body's natural healing process. From my travels in 3 years, I actually learned to meditate. Imagine that, an engineer meditating. How does that happen? And, I learned about it in Japan and Thailand. They do self-guided meditations, but you can really work with a lot of different types of meditation that the person's comfortable with to help in this regard. So intention, if you're doing a laser procedure, you can set an intention before you do the treatment, and that works really well. And that can help manage and reduce pain more effectively. One of the interesting things, when you go to the doctors nowadays, if you do, what happens? You walk in the clinic, they put you in a room. Well, first they're going to weigh you, they're going to measure your height, they throw you in a room. Then another person comes in and they type up and they ask you a bunch of questions. And then finally the doctor comes in and says, oh, okay, I see all these. Here, take this, or don't do this. They'll give you a little bit of direction. It's very impersonal. The thing that I love about being a laser therapist is it is very personal. I have a chance to have a conversation with the patient. That in of itself is super healing. I was an emergency medical technician years ago, and sometimes you didn't really have a chance to talk to the patient if you're pulling them out of a car. But here you get to treat people, you get to see them get better, and you get to talk with them. And this is the beautiful thing by it. You get improved energy flow. Laser therapy can remove blockages while meditation enhances the flow of energy. So you remove the blockage with the laser, and then they meditate to help increase the flow of energy. Meditation can give stress reduction. A lot of times the pain and discomfort comes from people being stressed. They're overstressed, they've got super busy lives. And so this helps produce the relaxation and stress, which can amplify the therapeutic effect of the laser. Creates mental clarity. Focusing intentions during therapy sessions can improve mental clarity and support emotional well-being. The integration of the laser therapy, intention, and meditation provides a comprehensive approach to health and healing. And this combination can facilitate spiritual awakening by removing energetic blockages and promoting inner harmony. One of the things I learned in the course I took in Thailand was that sometimes pain is caused by cellular memory. So you may have heard this comment about clearing cellular memory. So our DNA is more clever, I think, than people realize. It stores emotions and thoughts from our ancestors, not just a trait of the color hair you have. And I got to tell you, as an engineer, to come to that realization was tough. Because it's like, no, that's not possible. But I read a book by Bob Fix called Clearing Cellular Energy, who really explained it well. Met him, went to his class, and learned a lot about it. So this is why combining these methods really, I think, helps and works. So meditation, deep breathing, relaxation is best for pre and post sessions, both for the practitioner and the client. If you're a laser therapist, you have to remember to clear your energy. One of the things I noticed when I first started is I would treat an ankle, I would treat a back, I would treat a neck, I would treat a foot. And that night, it's like, my back hurts. It's like, oh, my foot hurts. It's like, what's happening here? It's something I came to this realization. It's like, I think I'm feeling the pain that I just treated. So I really learned how to clear myself after the day of treatment. So I can't explain that from a science standpoint, but it happens. So the light body, you've heard this term light body, but we truly are light bodies. So we are infrared emitters. You see on the movies and all how the infrared cameras can tell, oh, there's 5 people in that building, let's go get them. Well, infrared cameras are just what they say. They look for infrared light. And we are emitting infrared light. So, we have an infrared camera in our booth. If you want to come shine it on yourself, you can really see how much you're emitting and where the hot spots are. It's pretty cool. And you can watch after doing the laser, you can see how that changes. So, the light body is considered an ethereal concept, represents a state of being where one's physical and spiritual energies are in perfect harmony, radiating inner light and elevated consciousness. But from a science perspective, it's also, we emit infrared light. We're emitters. So to talk a little bit about how I started to delve into this, in Ecuador with Tosa at the Clinica Linda, when we launched the company, COVID hit. Big problem. Couldn't go anywhere, couldn't go do a demo, but Ecuador was still open. So I got this call from this Tosa, and they said, hey, can you bring your laser down? We just kind of saw this online. So I brought a laser down there, and they liked it. We treated some people, and then we had an idea over breakfast. I happened to say it would be cool if the indigenous people could be treated by the laser. You'd have the really ancient culture being treated by this high technology. And everybody said, that's a cool idea. So we opened up this Clinica Linda. I donated a laser, and we thought we'd treat 10 or so people a week. We hit 50 a day. Really amazing numbers of the indigenous population came down to be treated. And we learned a lot, from them about what worked well, how quickly it worked, because they didn't have any other medications they were taking. And they really had this inherent belief that light will help heal them. And it's kind of called, like this reverse placebo effect. People can convince themselves they're sick. And people can convince themselves they're better. And so it does work both ways. My oldest daughter's a PhD microbiologist, and I said, you think there's something in their DNA going on here? I said, you're the scientist, tell me what's going on there. And her response was, Dad, they don't know who Johns Hopkins is. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? She goes, there's no bias from their culture that there has to be a clinical study. There's no pharma ads that they watch. There's none of that. They accept that what you treat them with, that light, works, and it does. And people say, well, isn't that a placebo effect? Not really, because before we could treat people, we treated horses. And with horses, you can measure their tracking, you can look at a video of their gait, and you can see how they're doing. And so when you look at that, you can say the horse got lasered and they got better and their tracking got better. So you have actual physical evidence that says they got better. You can do an ultrasound and you can look at the volume of the tumor going down when they get lasered. So you can get these physical things. So one day the folks in Ecuador, as I said, they called me and said, hey, we're doing chakra balancing. with a laser. And I said, what is that? You should be treating, arms and things. And so they explained. And so, I'll try to be as accurate as possible. I'm not an expert like you guys are. So the chakra system, consists of 7 main energy centers in the body, each corresponding to a different physical, emotional, and spiritual aspect of the human experience. They're vital for maintaining the harmony within the body and mind and spirit, keeping these energy centers aligned. Individuals can achieve holistic well-being and inner peace. But I understand there are many more energy centers within and around the human vessel. Concentrating on these primary chakras can have profound effects. And the main chakras play a crucial role in physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being, making them key points for targeted healing and balance. So we just focus on the 7 chakras. There are more, but we focus on these 7 chakras, and we activate them with a laser. And you probably know all this, so I'm not going to, with my limited time, go through them all in detail. But the root chakra, you can actually look and say, okay, where's it located and what's its function? And so we worked with the people at TOSA to try to get this chart done and say, okay, this is how we can do it. We can put the laser here for a few minutes and we can treat this area. But we were treating the different chakras. And again, we know the points. We can really revolutionize holistic healing by using the laser to activate the chakra, target, align, and heal through the chakra system. It's very innovative energy work, promotes physical relief as well as emotional and spiritual well-being. We can focus on the main energy systems, because if we went beyond that, then traditional medicine would probably say it's too far out there for me to understand. So we try to stick with some known things here. And then emotional, spiritual benefits, clarity, well-being, and freedom get restored when pain and blockages are alleviated. And you've probably heard me say that now 5 or 6 times. So the influx of energy not only aids in physical healing, but also illuminates the body from within. And it fosters a profound sense of well-being and inner warmth. And this helps really lead to some profound healing. So now we can say, well, let's talk about the meridian lines and the acupressure points. And of course, you know that my first question when I heard this is, what is that? And I had an acupuncturist one time looking at the laser. He said, I think I could use the laser for acupuncture. And I looked at him in a very straight face. I said, but I don't believe in acupuncture. And he goes, oh, let me show you something here. And he took the laser and he put it at an acupuncture point in my hand. And he goes, so now pick up your cup with the other hand. And I couldn't pick the cup up. Now, if I'd watched that happen to somebody else, I would have, well, that's kind of a parlor trick. But he just did that. He didn't tell me what was going to happen. He just said, oh, try to pick up your cup. And I didn't have any grip strength over here. And I said, how the heck did you do that? And can you put it back? And so he did. He was able to then hit another point and put it back. And he goes, now do you believe in acupuncture? I said, yes, sir. And so it convinced me that there is connections that we as scientists and engineers don't really understand. And so this kind of put me down, again, another path. So we worked with a group in Puerto Rico, Sergio Soli's son, and he incorporated traditional Chinese medicine, combining ancient wisdom and modern laser therapy. Patient consultations, engaging with patients to understand their specific needs and conditions. This is where the coaching comes in. What does the patient really need? Where are they at physically, but where are they at emotionally? What else is going on in their life to try to understand? And then know and understanding the meridian lines. And when you treat the meridian lines, you're actually treating the whole line with the laser. It can take 3 to 5 minutes depending on which meridian you're treating. It's an intuitive approach using practitioner intuition to enhance the effectiveness of the therapy. You can target the root causes. It's effective in addressing the root cause of chronic pain and suffering, and enhanced effectiveness, amplified therapeutic effects through precise methods. And so the meridians, of course, are channels which energy or chi flows within the human body. That's according to traditional Chinese medicine. The meridians form an integrated network in the different parts of the body, and you all know this, so I don't want to bore you. Each meridian plays a crucial role in maintaining the body's overall health by ensuring the smooth flow of energy and addressing the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual aspects of well-being. By understanding and working with these meridians, practitioners can help restore balance and promote holistic health. And again, just like with the chakras, the meridians, I won't read the slide here for you, one, because it's too little for me to actually see. But again, with the meridians, there's clear functions for it, like the lung meridian function. So you can look at the person, assess where they're at physically and emotionally, and then you can treat the proper meridian with the laser. And again, you're going down the line, you're just taking the laser wand, you're moving it in small circles, and you just go down the length of the meridian line, typical 3 to 5 minute treatment. And again, you stick with the governing vessels, the conception vessels. These schematics are good to have in mind, to kind of know the meridians have a name wrapped around them. The device you can use, our small device, the 980 Helios, which is used for the home. You can target the main meridian lines and acupressure points. You can have a certified practitioner, which hopefully you'll all want to become, run the laser along the meridian lines and points. You can use certified treatment methods for optimum results. So if you use the clinical-based laser, you'll get quicker results, for the patient. And then, so the approach, again, like with the chakras, integrate relaxation approaches before the sessions and after the sessions. So post-session relaxation, post-session meditation. Open communication, maintain an atmosphere of openness and communication between practitioners and clients. You'll always hear any of us that we're giving laser treatments in the booth, will always ask, how does this feel? Does this feel warm? What else is going on? We're always inquiring and asking questions in a very gentle way, which you all intuitively probably do and know how to do. And so this really helps calm the patient, and it gets them talking. And the information sometimes that comes out when you're doing the laser treatment is amazing. And then you realize, this is some of what's going on with the patient besides just the physical, my elbow hurts. You focus on the images. Viewing the images of meridians and points can direct the chi energy to these areas, even without a laser treatment. Chi enhancement attention alone can bring energy, flow, and promote healing. So you can actually teach people how to do this. The laser treatment can further enhance healing, addressing deeper wounds and chronic issues. And then you have this holistic healing approach, combining the visual attention and laser therapy for total comprehensive well-being. And again, you go through the different meridians here, and this kind of gives you the schematic of where you would go with the laser. So, the acupressure points for overall health, targeting 10 key acupoints. So the folks in Puerto Rico did this, and they can do it by self-stimulation, either through a laser or even a stone, or through the Helios. Visual focus, concentrate on the images of these acupoints for your well-being, right now maybe even. You can use the device for the home, and you can do certified practitioner sessions, again, just like with the meridians and with the chakra balancing. So all of these things tie in well, are in use today in clinics. And so we're probably rolling out later this year, the late spring, a program where we can teach this technique to people. You can visit the centers and learn how to do it there, or you can have a service where we come out and we give you the full training and certification to be able to do this. And again, focused on the images, the chi enhancement, on the spot approach, and then laser treatment benefits utilizing the laser therapy can enhance the healing and address the deeper wounds and chronic issues. And then these are some of the points. And again, there are names for all of these. And I kept my fingers crossed when I was putting this together that I wasn't too far off with some of this information, because in my travels, a lot of people have slightly different interpretations of it. So, so I put all of this in a book. You can get it on Kindle books. You can buy it on Amazon. I've got a few copies in the booth. If you come down, and give you a price break on it, sign it for you. But that goes into a deeper dive And I knew I was only going to have so many minutes, to do this. So it goes into a deeper dive, and it really shares the experience of how the laser works, and then how the holistic side of it works, and how they can be combined together. But this is new, so this isn't something that we can say, oh, there's 50 years of research on, and this is really based on your fellow engineer saying, I'm going to go learn what you folks do and try to understand what it means and how to do it and try to learn about it. And the more I do, the more I learn, and the more I realize the wisdom behind it. So, that really, you can scan the barcode if you want for the book, but that really kind of ties up the presentation. You're welcome to come to our booth, and if you want, yes.
Do you use, so there are different colors you had mentioned.
Yes.
So do you use those different colors when treating your different chakra points?
Not yet. Right now we use the infrared,
Okay.
the near infrared.
And then I missed the slide on the meridian points. I'm just curious, do you have a specific direction, or that you, I thought I saw it, that you start a starting point?
Yes.
when working the meridian points?
Yes.
And then also, as far as the points are concerned, some of them are copywritten, and so that's why the points will change.
Yeah.
Depending on what graph
Ah.
it is, because the first one may have been copywritten, and then therefore the ones that are made after that can't be copied.
Okay.
But that's just.
Yeah. Yeah, no, thanks for explaining that. Those are things I probably wouldn't know, because I didn't even know what a chakra was. So, yeah, it's been a really fascinating journey for me to just make this trip and travel down and say, wow, this is some really cool stuff. Yeah.
How do you clear the body so you don't pick up everybody else?